This is the Simpit. I'm your host, Shaun, and today we're here to check out the Trak Racer Variable Adjustable Vesa Adapter Kit for monitors. Did I get that right? Variable Adjustable Vesa Adapter Kit for monitors. I think I got that all right. These things are $59 each or $155 if you're buying three, so for triple screens, which is probably what 99% of the people these are going to be made for are people doing triple screens. And why? Because aligning triple screens can be an absolute nightmare depending on your monitor mount or how you're building your rig. So these are specifically built for 40 by 40 or 40 by 80 aluminum extrusion or profile tubing, which most rigs out there use that sizing, and most of the monitor stands made of profile use that sizing as well. And it'll also work on the Trak Racer monitor stands. These Vesa mounts as is work on 75, 100, 150, and 200 millimeter monitors, and they do make an adapter to even go larger, and they give you total adjustment. So you can rotate them this way, you can rotate them this way, you can move them up and down. We'll cover all of that a little bit more when we get down to the detail of using them. So I can't even show you one here. They're mounted right there, so it's almost impossible for me to pull one off and show it to you here. So I'll just have to use some footage of exactly what was going on with them. But this has been one of my nightmares historically. The minute I went to triple screens, getting perfect bezel alignment has always been difficult. And there's so many advantages to getting the bezels perfectly matched. You don't want to see that daylight between monitors. I did a whole video on that using duct tape to cover it, and that's because I was using crappy, just cheapo $15 mounts, and with these I had to leave the screws loose and use that tape to hold everything lined up nicely as much as to fill the gap. And that's immersion. When you see the gap between them, that's immersion. The other is if you're ever using any kind of bezel adjustment, because you want to get that perfect from screen to screen. Those lines on the screen should be perfectly lined up. And the only way you're going to get that done is with the same and perfect bezel alignment and having that perfectly set. And it's always been problematic for me. So as long as you're using profile tubing, 40 by 40 or 40 by 80, these adapters are going to make life really nice. So in my scenario, I'm using DIY level extrusion tubing. It's actually 30 by 30, but everything luckily worked out perfectly for me. It basically starts with the adapters, which come pre-assembled in the box, and then you have two different lengths that you can install depending on the size of your profile. But you do need to completely take it apart so you can put the top clamp over the profile and then use the lockdown bolts to make sure it doesn't move. From there you can install the other parts, including the adapter for the size of the profile that you're using. Once these parts are in place, you can install the Vesa adapter onto the back of the monitor. Now my monitors are kind of weird, so I had to use some longer screws, but it was pretty easy to get them mounted on, and then you literally just hang the monitor on the mount. It's that easy to get your monitors on and off. And then there is a third bolt that goes in. This bolt will prevent the monitor from falling off, but you need to leave it loose enough to make all the adjustments and then lock it down with this bolt when you're finished. With the monitor in place, we can get down to the adjustments, starting with the two knobs we installed on the top. With those, we can adjust the height vertically by 32 millimeters. We can also adjust the tilt of the monitor by moving one of these tighter and the other one looser, and that will angle the monitor plus or minus 5 degrees. Up on the top, we have the left and right side knobs, which give us a horizontal or left and right adjustment of plus and minus 10 millimeters here. And then we can also adjust the horizontal rotation with the lower bolts. With this, we can tilt the monitor left and right plus or minus 5 more degrees. In total, basically you can move every direction that you would need to align it with the monitor next to it. I started with the center monitor and then made adjustments to get the left monitor pretty close, then moved on to the right monitor to make sure it was pretty close, and after a little bit of tweaking going back and forth between all three monitors, I finally got it just right. And when you look at the top corners between my left and center, or my center and right monitors, they're perfectly butted up, and the only distance between pixels is the literal plastic of the bezels. Now on the bottom, because my bezels have a little front plate that goes on it, I wasn't able to get things quite as perfectly, and I slightly underlapped the bottom monitors, and that means there is a hint of a tilt, but that is because of my monitors, not because of the mounts. So in the end, this isn't really a review. I mean, I'm not going to go into the good, the not so good, and the bottom line because I don't think it's like comparable to other items that we've normally reviewed. It's more showing you an option, a solution, if you're in need of it. If you're in triple screens and you're like me, this has always been a difficulty or a problem. If you have an aluminum profile 40 by 40 or 40 by 80 monitor stand that you built or bought, this is going to be the perfect solution to go from gaps and misaligned monitors and pixels that don't line up to absolute perfection. So when I could say $155 is expensive for monitor mounts, on the other hand, it got me perfection on something that has been a nightmare for a good decade now, ever since I went to triple screens. So I'm really happy with the way it worked out. Now, in my full disclosure, I have only used those crappy monitor mounts in the past, and my kits have always been DIY monitor stands. This is the first time I've really tested something that really gave me that freedom to move the monitor any way that I needed to get them lined up. And yes, it took some time. I had to kind of work my way around and then work my way around the other way. And then in the end, I got it as perfect as it could be with the style and size of my monitors and bezels. And in the end, for $155, it made my rig perfect. No more duct tape, no more bump a monitor and all three move. Now it's locked down, it's perfect, and when I'm driving, the pixels line up oh so nice. So it's really quite a pleasure, and I think if you know the way you've built your DIY stand, so if these mounts will work on a 40 by 40 or 40 by 80, as long as the lockdowns will hold down and hold the mount flat, it's going to work out great on any solution. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope most of all that I've showed you the applications and the scenarios that you will be able to use these, and then you can judge for yourself if this is the best option, because I'm sure there are other options out there. If you did enjoy this, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so you can find out when our next video comes out, and thank you for watching. This is the Simpit. I'm Shaun Cole, and I'll see you on the track.